This innocent girl is Woo Youngwoo, who is already 5 years old, but still doesn't know what to say. Mr. Wang Ho took his daughter everywhere for treatment, but there was still no progress. Until one day he was diagnosed with autism by a doctor, which surprised him. On the way home, her father accidentally quarreled with a bossy neighbor. Youngwoo sees the landlord beating his father, so he is immediately scared that the little girl will rub his head. At this time, an unexpected miracle happened. The first time Youngwoo opened his mouth to talk was a series of articles in Korean law. So he also spoke in a very fluent way, seeing that his daughter was able to talk. Mr. Wang Ho was overjoyed and ignored the fact that he was arguing with his neighbor. After returning home, he asks Youngwoo where he learned it. He glanced at the law books beside him. As for the girl who danced while answering with the criminal law, Youngwoo memorized everything without missing a word. The neighbor came to apologize for her husband's dissatisfaction earlier, and Youngwoo's father spread tears of happiness on his cheeks. It turns out that my daughter is a genius with autism. Just like that, 10 years of seeping and escaping, the sun shimmers through the window, and a new day begins again. Youngwoo has grown up and became the first autistic lawyer in Korea. Every day, she chooses a suitable expression from the photos of her father hanging on the wall. Daily meals are made for her by a father, a chicken that raises her children personally. Youngwoo likes to eat seaweed rice rolls because she thinks she can see through the ingredients in it. Today is also the first day Youngwoo comes to take a job at a reputable law firm in the area where she lives. Her father was still very worried and told her all kinds of things before letting her start her life. Don't follow others, don't talk miscellaneously, and don't talk too frankly. The most important thing is not to talk about whales to others. Youngwoo has a very different person who is in her world. There was always a whale. It was like a guardian god who grew up with her and gave her more motivation and courage to survive with this disease. Although he is a master of the law, Youngwoo's first day of work had a difficult problem. Walking to the door of the company, it is this revolving door. Youngwoo tries to go through several times with all his might, but fails. But heaven does not favor good people. Later, a handsome guy of 8 meters came and helped her. He helped her resolve this embarrassment. Heaven and earth are more harmonious when this guy works in a law office with her. Tin leads Youngwoo to the lawyer's office. After opening the door, Youngwoo counted 5 seconds to enter. Lawyer Dung then looked at a force of Youngwoo's dispatch. He only knew that he had a fever when there was a note from Director Han behind him asking him to check it out. Before he could open his mouth, Youngwoo said that he had autism spectrum disorder. Just like that, Youngwoo kept saying countless very strange words. Dogs, chickens, barns, locusts. Woo Youngwoo reads backwards or backwards equally. But these nonsensical words made everyone in the office laugh happily. Lawyer Dung immediately went to Director Han and questioned her. Why hire an autistic lawyer? Director Han said Youngwoo graduated as valedictorian of Seoul National University of Law, and also achieved a perfect score of the law certificate exam. With such a talent, there is no place where Hanbara does not invite. Lawyer Dung still felt that something was wrong and continued to say that achievement is thanks to outstanding memory ability. And a real lawyer needs to have knowledge, experience, and taste in speech along with good social skills. He couldn't even guide a person to introduce himself. Director Han said that today was her first day at work. Then ask him why he knows she can't do it. Under the insistence of Director Han, lawyers who have the ability to sell themselves to capital can only compromise. In his hand, he has a weapon that will be used to take the entrance test for Youngwoo. What Youngwoo didn't expect was the first case. When she became a lawyer, she was her former landlady. The hostess enthusiastically hugged Youngwoo. But because of autism spectrum disorder, she is very afraid of others touching her body. 10 years passed, and the boss dementia became more and more serious. One day, the delivery man came to my house. The husband suspected that she had an affair with him. After that, agitating her mind clause was even more exaggerated, saying that she was no different from a girl. Although she pretended to have human stamina introduced, She was angry, so she took the iron and hit her husband's head. The two people had a scuffle, the husband fell down and fainted. Now she is accused of intentionally harming an unsuccessful person. The best solution that Lawyer Young offered was to apply for a suspended sentence. But Youngwoo's conclusion is that he wants to plead not guilty. According to Lawyer Young, this is completely impossible and indeed reckless. He couldn't help but begin to doubt Youngwoo's abilities. However, she did not panic, but was also inspired by Wales. And find exactly the key points written in the civil law. This matter does not need to be considered whether it is guilty or not. The focus of this lawsuit should be on the criminal law, not the civil law. Simply put, even if the old man has the quality, then the old woman is not entitled to any property. Therefore, this crime does not constitute the crime of intentional homicide. The most serious is only counted as the crime of injuring others. Youngwoo is confident that he can do it, and Lawyer Dung also found it reasonable and nodded after listening. At the same time, he also apologized for rushing to judge Youngwoo by his appearance. And just because she has autism, Youngwoo may have difficulty communicating with customers. So Lawyer Dung specially arranged for the handsome Juno to accompany her. Seeing that Youngwoo had a hard time getting through the store, Juno told her to just go with the pace and you can pass. With the help of the handsome guy, Youngwoo indeed passed through the revolving door smoothly. Who would have thought that when he arrived at the hospital, the landlord would go crazy in Korean with Youngwoo? Even if the landlord's behavior makes others uncomfortable. But even though he was very difficult to live in, the landlady still took care of him wholeheartedly. Is that the power of love that people often talk about? Because both grandparents are old to increase the chances of winning the lawsuit, she decided to find a way to get the jury involved and show them her pitiful situation. In this way, it is possible to win the sympathy of the trial panel. At the same time, based on Youngwoo's communication ability, it is difficult to impress the jury. Therefore, they all want to fight for the right to defend in court. But Youngwoo doesn't want to give up like that. You said that the key point is to let everyone see the pitiful scene of the defendant, right? There is nothing more pitiful than the appearance of all the desolation, and I am lying about autism spectrum disorder. Youngwoo's words completely moved Lawyer Dung. He encouraged her to prepare well to overcome the language barrier. Youngwoo turns to his only friend, Zulami, and recreates the scene with her. The trial finally came to Youngwoo to welcome the first trial of his life. But after the start of the trial, because it was so tense, the judge's questions made Youngwoo unable to hear. This is the first time that a lawyer dares to ignore the judge's words. Lawyer Dung next to her is also worried on behalf of her colleague, who is new to this profession. But Youngwoo sat motionless. The whole scene fell into embarrassment. Lawyer Dung only had to grit his teeth in response. This made the landlady feel disappointed after the prosecutor recounted the incident. Youngwoo still sat quietly on the chair worriedly. The judge immediately asked her if she didn't decide on the main general. This made Mr. Wang Ho and Zulami sitting in the stands both sweating profusely. Finally, Youngwoo mustered up all the courage to stand up. Without fancy words, Youngwoo admits that he suffers from autism spectrum disorder. For outsiders, stuttering and movements are not respectful, but she loves the law. As a lawyer, she will regain the innocence of the defendant. A sincere and emotional statement won the approval of the judge. The trial began. The prosecutor began to attack with sharp words that made it difficult for the landlady. Youngwoo immediately expressed his anger and lost control, a skill that she has learned for a long time. Tung counterattacked strongly, but if he wanted to get innocence, the most important person was still the landlord. As long as he is brought to court, every story of the mistress' innocence, assuming that his illness recurred, the jury would have understood what the landlady had been through. Not unexpectedly, he once again rioted the trial and was taken out of the scene. As soon as Youngwoo makes a final declaration of innocence, the incident occurs. The owner of the house on the way to the hospital has died. The prosecutor changed the prosecution for the landlady. This sudden bad news makes Youngwoo unable to catch up. Then she went to attend the funeral service. Here, Youngwoo reproaches herself deeply, because in order to condemn perfectly, she invites the landlord to go to court. Because of that, he died, but the landlady didn't blame her at all. While Youngwoo is stuck in the lawsuit, it is discovered that Juno also likes whales. The appearance of the whale gave Youngwoo inspiration. She found the key point and broke the situation. Before the landlord was blamed for causing a head injury, he had a headache. Moreover, in the police report, it is also clearly written. The homeowner was hit on the head with a flat iron, but there were no injuries. That means that his cerebral hemorrhage was most likely not caused by the iron. Moreover, there is a record in the police file that he often has headaches. It is a functional sign of the subcervical blood rate due to dementia. The expert doctor also made an affirmation. The first trial of E. Angus' life ended successfully. She successfully cleared the charge for the landlady. At the wedding hall, sparkling lavishly and splendidly by the brilliant aura, the bride and groom step by step entered the hall. Suddenly, the bride accidentally stepped on the skirt. The dress kept falling down. At this time, the whole stand and the atmosphere seemed to stop moving at this moment. The eyes of the guests fell on the stage. The boy with the letter O in his eyes seemed to see something terrible. There was nothing more embarrassing than this for the officials of the two families. When the bride revealed her goods right at her wedding, with a picture of the bride's back, it made the boy's grandfather so angry that he almost fainted. Just like that, a solemn wedding turned into a laughingstock for the people of the world. After that, the bride's father, Chairman Kim, went to the Hanbara law office. I spent $230 million to organize this wedding. Yet he had to be humiliated in front of thousands of guests. Lawyer Dung said that the hotel plan was very reasonable, but Chairman Kim was not satisfied. He asked the hotel to compensate at least $1 billion. Director Han was a little surprised when he heard the number of billion, because if approved, the number will not be so high. Who would have thought that Chairman Kim would bring the law firm T to compare? After all, Hanbara is no different from a luxury. He came here because he thought Hanbara would be different. Who would have thought it was equally useless? The law firm has always been their rival. Director Han decided on this task, to prove that her office is in a different position. The lawsuit was transferred to Yongwoo's group. But when they analyze all the possibilities, combine all parts to claim compensation, it is also impossible to have $1 billion. They were forced to find more clues, so they decided to split into two teams. Yongwoo and lawyer Minwoo went to the bride's house. Because of that incident, the wedding was temporarily put on hold. Hoa Rong remembers that when she tried on the wedding dress, it still fit very well. But when it comes to weddings, it is wider. The staff said it was probably because she was thinner. Yongwoo accidentally discovered that in the flower room, he displayed all his photos. And her wedding photo with the groom was thrown into a corner. That's why she didn't wear a wedding ring on her hand. When researching from the groom, it was learned that this wedding was arranged by the two families. He and the seaweed flower did not have any affection. Moreover, since she exposed the Bodhisattva tattoo on her back. Then his grandfather insisted on annulling the marriage, because he was a Christian and he felt betrayed. After leaving, Minwoo couldn't help but start to wrinkle. The bride and groom got married in such a hurry. If you want to get married, you must at least be an adult. Certainly, since they were born, they didn't know what to cook. Yongwoo was tightly related to him. The best friend on the phone called Junhwa to ask. He also thinks that adults must go down to the kitchen to cook rice by themselves, living independently away from their parents. Considering human standards, all whales and assassins cling to their mothers, until the sound of the Zeon coin is heard. At the other end of the line, Yongwoo stopped. Su Zeon and Junhwa were about to go to the hotel to investigate clues. In the middle of the coin, Zeon suddenly had a stomach ache. It was not until he entered the toilet that he was still one step late. It's really not okay now. After all, she had to ask Yongwoo to bring her another pair of pants. Yongwoo went to the hall and met Junhwa. I came to find Lawyer Choi. I can't tell you why I came here. Especially, I can't tell you. Because Su Zion said you can choose any pair of pants. So Yongwoo chose to give her a pair of flower pajamas. There is a material with good stretch. Su Zion still had severe abdominal pain after changing his pants.
So Zion's coin is fine.
She had the opportunity to pretend to be husband and wife with Kratz for Yongwoo. Then Junhwa and Yongwoo pretended. It was a couple who came to book a wedding dress. The reason we rushed to get married was because we had crossed the fence. Is that an act of crossing the barrier that the law allows? He was about to reveal the bleach to the place where the flowers were in a hurry. Cover for Yongwoo when choosing a wedding dress. Deliberately chose the dress model that fell down. At the same time, the hotel staff spoke. Phone in the toilet. She mentioned her colleague in the wedding delay. Been fired. Just now, Su Zion, the emperor of the heavenly palace, heard this. Junhwa deliberately approached that employee. Identify the contact information of the dismissed person. The result is still a failure. When he saw Yongwoo wearing a wedding dress, it seems that she transformed into a princess in a fairy tale. He looked at it with a pair of sunken eyes, and completely immersed in that beauty. Yongwoo smiled brightly. Are you always sucked in? At this time, she was no different. An angel was radiating a brilliant aura. Those auras were extinguished, and she was. Being a girl who opens the hood will be just a whale. Very insignificant fresh cream contains about 30 of the fat and milk content of whales. Much denser than cream, because in milk contains about 3,050 fat content. So whales still drink mother's milk. How much will 6 months of adult weigh? Yongwoo's enthusiasm for whales makes June. Coughing and eating is not restless, so he contract that she can only talk about whales during the lunch break, but when required to. Speaking of whales, it is also said at this time. Yongwoo was happy again just in time. Hey, they saw the waiter at the hotel again. The two came to meet her and spoke out. His identity, when he found out after that wedding. The seaweed flower has to receive psychological treatment. The marriage is about to be annulled finally, staff. The waiter also took all the courage to go to court to testify. Who would have expected a wedding one day? The wedding dress that the bride had ordered was unfortunately torn. Because the deadline is tight, hotel management replaced with a similar dress, but it accidentally was too wide, so the new dress. It is easy to slip like that after that they dismissal of employees related to this. Everyone thought they had a firm grasp of the victory. Dong Fong suddenly came up with arguments they investigate. Okay, after this incident happened, the bride posted on his website content. Currently, the boy's family is considering canceling the marriage. That's also lucky if she would take one more. No more time, you won't have to live with the man. Falsely unacquainted this. Proving that after the wedding dress incident, which was not, affects her psychology therefore. The hotel does not need to compensate for the mental loss for. She too, it's true that he kicked his own foot. The Ianwoo group immediately held an emergency meeting. Hua Jiang also spoke in his heart at this time. Deep down, her marriage was a dad's transaction, just get married, home. The muscles will use an expensive piece of land to make birth ceremony, and her father longed for a piece. That land a long time ago, there was even a plan.
How to use it right now.
Ianwoo sensed a whale call. Brought a new premonition to her again in front of the crowd. Married, the boy's family promised to give her a plot of land if the dress is not extreme. Down, the groom's grandfather will not see the picture. Bodhisattva tattoo on the back of the flower will also. Not disappointed, and donated the plot of land as promised. But due to the fault of the hotel, the bride did not. Receiving a wedding gift, it will be considered a loss. To claim compensation for this reason, although not compensated 33 billion VND according to the value of the piece. Land, but asking for 3 billion 3 is as easy as eating candy. Suddenly, Hua Zhang said to stop his father. Okay, she doesn't want to, but in her eyes, Chairman Kim only has money and doesn't pay attention to it. Daughter's thoughts in the trial, everything. All went smoothly, but when declaring the results. In the end, Hua Jiang made a decision she made. I want to withdraw the lawsuit. The two sides agreed with the judge. Decision to end the trial. Chairman Kim, angry to scold his daughter, but Hua Jiang thought that it was her marriage, her life. She didn't want to marry someone she didn't love. If she had to get married, she hoped to get married with the person she loves. The two of them were together. It's been 10 years. President Kim looks at the image. Playing teasing in front of my eyes, I almost had a heart attack. To congratulate the Du Yongwoo lawsuit. Win the victory. Invite everyone. Going out to eat a meal. It happened to Mrs. Seven moment. Everyone ran out of glasses. June coughed and gently raised the cup. With her, express your joy with her. The party is over. Jun Ho is still standing outside waiting for her to come back and say, if you need. Did you bring it back? Yongwoo basic. I don't understand what he means because of the above. The aunt does not have a love treasure, and Jun Ho is now attracted to the lovely girl. Hey, there you have it. The chairman of the company. Pharmaceuticals go home. They discovered the son. Being suffering from autism is weighing on you, child. He was big and kept hitting him in the chest. When they pushed him out, the eldest son. I was already out of breath. Meanwhile, the son. Autism stands screaming in a corner cause. His uncle's death was caused by damage to his chest. Thuong only counted on the ribs. There were 22. The place is broken, so there is bleeding on the side. In the chest cavity, he died on the ancient plague. Nan also had slight traces, but was not fatal. The examiner said that all the wounds on the boy's body were all caused by his younger brother. The cause of the disease, however, strange, in that the concentration, the alcohol in his blood, is extremely high. That size had to drink at least 2 bottles of wine. The procuratorate sued the brother with the crime of assaulting others to death because he has autism, so lawyer Jun, choosing the person with the same disease as him, is Yongwoo. Coming to support, I hope she can communicate more effectively. When I saw Yongwoo introduce himself, both the chairman and his wife, it feels very familiar. Lawyer Jun explained that Yongwoo has autism spectrum disorder is the same as their young son. The defendant's mother said that the two brothers were very close. Big brother is always interested. Take care of me. The younger brother is also very attentive. His words, even though his brother has a self-inflicted disease. Kai was born, but the eldest brother is a child. Hong has no place to blame. Boy. Not only did he pass the entrance exam to Seoul University with absolute score, but also humility. And the sound pressure no one asked, but my mother was too high to gain more. More salt, lawyer Jun suggested to Yongwoo. Try talking to your brother. Hard to believe. Being a person with a massive body like 2 people. In addition, IQ has not reached the level of a 10-year-old child. Yongwoo quickly find common ground with him. They don't just. They like to repeat other people's words with their fingers. They also couldn't leave it alone, although the lawyer Jun tried to communicate with his brother no matter how much he tried. No, you can't. He was helpless to tell Yongwoo. Just who would have thought that she would ask your uncle the other day what happened in the end? Why? You hit your brother again?
My Byung-woo.
It was too urgent, leading to his brother's emotions. Agitated, he kept hitting his head. Body people therefore cannot ask further questions. You have to stop after returning. At home, Yongwoo asked his father how to communicate with someone with autism. This quote. It made him very sympathetic, because in the past, he also had a headache because of this time. Little Yongwoo didn't know how to talk and cry. Nick, but as long as dad talks about the law, she immediately held back and immediately paid attention only. If you need to take her liking to coax her, you will calm down again, hear from your dad. So she noticed that it seemed like his brother was very loved to rap. Just communicate with him with rapping so you can talk normally. The brother finally reacted, proving that this method works. Yongwoo. I asked him again what had happened, but he was still the same as before and immediately lost control. constantly hitting himself on the head and mouth. Keep shouting, "Don't pile up," right? At this time, the whale gave her a hunch. Combined with the information in the report, the autopsy that the brother also did, affirm her thoughts, but the mother said that it was impossible. Every time I lose control of my emotions, even if I ask, everything my brother answered like that. To look for clues, Yang-woo and tremble. At the scene of the crime then start. Search the whole room, but unexpectedly. In such a serious situation seem. The whole person was dancing in the morning light. In the end, they not only found the rope, cut off, but also see his diary. Brother, the contents of the diary proved that the British. I want to log out like every time my brother. Seeing it, he ran to save him. In the eyes of his parents, he is an excellent person. So, he can only keep trying not to. Sorry for my parents, but that was unintentional. The boy's parents decided to hide it again. The truth is to let the second son bear all the sins. They don't want people to talk about him. His talented son became. The focus is on the pressure of studying and trying to leave. Yang-woo disagreed. She thinks that tell the truth to exonerate the second son. This is the best solution, those words. Making her father angry, he only scolded her badly. What are you good at? She is also just. What kind of autistic child the case is day by day. Heated up on social media, countless internet users who don't know the reality and then turn it into become a keyboard hero. They openly disparage people with autism. There are also those who shout, demand the cancellation of the mitigating clause for those who having autism, all insults. Except for the turtles, they were all pointing at his brother. Surprisingly, the next day, he took the car himself. Go to the lawyer's office, he received Yang-woo. As my bird's friend Yang-woo. He said that the reason for the crime was because he had arisen. Emotional breakdown, uncontrollable, caused by weak nerves. That situation, caused by the symptoms of autism itself. Bruising, ignoring the judge's direction. The spearhead towards her, saying that she is also a person having autism, but it didn't arise at all. Such symptoms, so taking the reason. Weak nerves to apply for leniency is not reasonable. That causes invisible pressure. When he returned to the office, Jun-ho discovered she was going to meet the old people. He panicked. Hurriedly pulled the rope out, the two of them, just like that. Losing the ladder by falling. This is the first time they were in such intimate contact. Jun-ho, engrossed in looking at the girl in front of him, even. I forgot that my hands were still on her buttocks. Then Yang-woo was just trying. Simulate the crime scene right now. Whales rise to the surface of the sea again. A hunch for her combined with action. Saving Jun-ho's earlier life, she speculated. The fractured part of the chest in the medical examination report. Most likely caused when the younger brother trying to do first aid for his brother even. The fracture in the back was caused by the victim. Fell when his brother came to rescue him, although not. It can be cleansed of sin, but it is enough to deny it. Suspected assault on the victim led to death. At that time, the conscience in the father also failed to awaken. Even if he loses face, the unjust sentence must be abolished. For the second son at this time, Yang-woo said to her, not suitable to receive defense for the case. More when I was with Jun-ho. Others thought he was an employee, taking care of people with disabilities, or when the driver held the defendant back, it was clear that there is money for people, but he thought I was. There is also no ability to handle it, although she understands very well that her autism is not the same with others, but the judge doesn't know. That means that all judges. It's the same with others. She said she wasn't. Being a lawyer can help the defendant. Although Yang-woo did not work as a defense lawyer, hers. So much has washed away his crimes. Am self-conscious, however, because they have to suffer. After this case, she also had a big momentum. Submit a resignation letter, the first case. After being officially transferred, it also became a case. Her last after quitting her job, she left as a waitress, She carried a calf. Pour water for his father's restaurant. Best friend Zulumi turned to Yongwoo for help. It turned out that her father was killed by the eldest uncle and uncle. The two covered themselves since my grandfather's death. The acre of land in the countryside is always in her father's name. But recently that area has been designated as Exploration Area. The government will compensate 10 billion VND. Guan with that amount, even if it is divided equally. For the three families, they don't have to worry about lack of food and clothing. However, the eldest uncle and the two said according to, under the law of inheritance, the eldest child is divided in half. Asset the second child gets 3, and the child 2 gets 2 parts. Zulumi's father lives. All my life in the countryside, I don't know about. Law moreover, I think brother swung. Blood and climbing poles will not deceive me. So, sign and seal only later did I know. The page of the contract of the eldest uncle told him. Sign with a clause stating that all tax expenses are signed by him, all total tax costs. It is exactly 23 billion yuan give. Even if they receive compensation of 2 billion it is still necessary to make up an additional 300 million. Yang helps their family double-check the signed contract. Obviously, the eldest uncle has prepared very careful in advance, so the content inside. There are no loopholes. The only way out. That he has been put on the terms of the law. Tax in terms of legal and behavior. It is considered a scam contracts. Signed in case of being deceived or coerced. Forced can be cancelled because she quit her job, so she told Zulumi to find a lawyer. Tolerate, he said. The cases were signed. Fully sealed like this, they have the ability to win. No one will want to take the job. And if you have anything to say, please go directly to the company lawyer Dung. Refusing this case is for her to return to herself. Decide a case that has been determined to lose the lawsuit. In this case, you should be responsible for yourself. Why do you push it to other colleagues? Maybe only Yongwoo still doesn't understand that he is trying to help her shoot. Return as she was about to leave. Deng Ho immediately chased after him. He asked her if see any gifts on the table? He and Yongwoo said that he didn't know it was his gift. I gave it to them, so I accidentally threw them in the trash, brother. She could only open her mouth wide because of her helplessness. Instead, Deng Ho's eyes looked at Yongwoo. When she left, Zulumi took a drop of Zulumi's dad's nose. Zulumi could see the lover's eyes. On the day of going to court, the eldest uncle was very prepared, thoroughly scripted to win the lawsuit. He refused to admit which I said no one has proven it. They had sucked Zulumi's dad's nose. Suddenly, Zulumi's parents remembered something. That day, their house invited a worker to come fix the roof. Normally this person is people who talk a lot and are very fond of skipping numbers. Seal surely he heard the whole thing. I heard their conversation with witnesses. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Zulumi wants to give Yongyu a chance. And June coughed, so he whispered to the guy again. There's a dating mecca lately. I don't make light bulbs. Take the opportunity. June Ho quickly understood what she meant. He took Yongyu to the holy land of dating. The two of them went for a walk together. There is one thing when we are alone. Parachute. Their conversation also revolves around marine creatures. Under the sunset, June Ho asked, why did Yongyu give up his job as a lawyer? She replied that regardless of her status as a lawyer or whatever, in everyone's eyes, it's still just one. Autistic patients with autism all the time need help. If you stand in the same battle, the line with me will lose. I still. It is better to withdraw. Her words made. He felt sorry for everyone at the same time. I wanna said that I was on the same front line as her. Hope a lawyer Yongyu can stand with the front line with me. That quote from June Ho. Like a halo of light. Yongyu times. First, she was praised by others so sincerely. At the same time, Minwoo came to find a lawyer. June he saw Yongyu take a break on his own. Doing things for no reason without being punished. You can also. The options of the cases she wanted to receive though. Lawyer June is still naked and does not settle the application. Please resign from your job those things make. The person with the same level as him feels. Unfair treatment lawyer, June said. Wei Yongyu is an excellent lawyer not. Only keep a resilient attitude, love cars. With cases but also possessing sharp thinking. Destroyed Just Minwoo indoors. Observation will learn a lot from her come. On the second court day, the witness was arrested by Mr. The eldest uncle bought the axle and testified against the truth. When everyone was about to give up, the friend bet. The elephant accompanying Yongyu brings a hunch. For her without evidence, we can. Generate evidence today is just. The pit day of the grandfather. The best friend of the late awakening. Drunk and went to the uncle's house aunt. Borrowing wine yeast and scolding the eldest uncle for using money to buy kernels. Witnesses in front of everyone and uncle. I waved the tail of the button behind my uncle's back. The eldest uncle was angry and waved his hand and slapped. Zulami's father couldn't stand it anymore. He was always as gentle as he was times. At first, the attitude was clear and the whole family was in a state of chaos. The eldest uncle kept waving his hand mercilessly. Unfortunately, I didn't know that I had fallen into a trap. When the person who receives the property commits an act of violating the crimes against the person who donated the property, or relatives of the same blood of that person, the donor has the right to cancel the donation contract. According to the provisions of Article 556 about 11, my client had more reasons. It is justified to decide to cancel the contract. The lawyer on the other side was also very generous and said, everything is deliberately set up by them too. Deceiving his client, eyeing, you changed heaven. The practitioner did not leave him alone, asked him, is there evidence of that? That quote, causing him to immediately fall into the brink of surrender. Colleagues all silently praised the expression. Awesome of her, the eldest uncle and the second uncle. She pathetically took the initiative to admit her mistake. Zulami's father has the right to choose to inherit 10 billion VND alone. But he decided to forgive them. The compensation will be divided equally between all three houses this time, help you recover the damage. Thanks to her efforts, she also got it back. Gain trust, she came back as a person. Be able to help others after revocation. Again, she felt the world. Everything around me became warmer arrange. Assign Minyu and eyeing you to take on new tasks. This time, but he didn't talk about it, as she knew when she came to find him. Then he said that he forgot afterwards. Give her a stack of documents, tell her to go and see. First, didn't even let her ask. Has the customer arrived? Even when she, introducing himself, interrupted. Basically didn't give her a chance to show off totally. Showing that this lawsuit will be done alone. He accepted. Minyu tried to get acquainted with customers that make them forget about existence. They invented the machine. Automatic withdrawal of new samples, but there is a company. There are products that are almost identical to their company. So, he wanted to sue the other party for plagiarism. Product he thinks that his company be at the forefront of project invention. This technique the other party has copied the product. They were from A to Z. Apply for a copyright license, but it has not yet been approved. The specific details of the incident have been told, but it is still very vague. Lawyer Dung. Very disappointed with her performance today. He blamed her for not preparing the documents in advance. I didn't know that all of this. It was all Minwoo's plan. He thinks that me and Yongwoo are competitors. Why he had to share with her. Document with your opponent? Very fast. The first trial took place. Lawyer. The other party said that this technical project has once shared publicly in an exhibition. Both companies are just visiting the project together. That's just to make my own product. But the trustee on the Yongwoo side don't admit that their company used to participate in that exhibition. This product is made by them themselves. Research and production about the other party said again. Before them, there was another company that also made it. This product because they are now suffering from. Just close the door, both companies. Visiting other people's projects, absolutely not. There is a matter of who copies from whom, but the company. The other third now no longer retains the product. Therefore, no one can prove it. I was the first researcher. Therefore, the trial had to be suspended. Yang Wu began to doubt. She thinks that the products of my customer's company are not made by. They come up with their own when she talks about this. It also means that she has committed a great taboo of a lawyer because they were suspicious of customers. Yours Min Wu is completely different. With her, he thinks that just help the customer can win this lawsuit gang. They have no right to doubt customers. To find the answer in my heart, how is it? To guess whether a person is lying or telling the truth. Yang Wu went to his best friend Zulimi again. Both of them come to a conclusion. Just look at the opponent's road seal. If it is a lie, it will exude a stench. And in another small movement, Yang Wu came to find Dad to do the experiment, a visitor. The salon criticizes him. She immediately ran. I came to ask my father if he hated that guest witch. I thought that aunt heard it again, because to keeping the business of the restaurant, Yang was father. I had to brush off the relationship. He said that he didn't know her. She is also just a guest. Come here to eat. Since then she has also get the answer. It turns out that people's expressions lying will really change, but she still wants to prove it again. So she continued to come. June coughed up the experiment. Mr. Junho, I like. Is Yang Wu like that?
Speech.
Wu Qi seemed to make June cough and exude a stinky fog, and hurriedly changed the subject. Thanks to that, the new work kept the embarrassing atmosphere put. Investigating the lawsuit, Yang Wu and Junho. Let's go to the repair. Unexpected people. Trust had a car accident again. She was originally going to observe the sugar seal, 2 hands and 2 legs. His to judge whether he said lie. No, who would have thought that this time it would be a coincidence. He was injured in all 3 of those parts. They could only find the head of the department and the research department to find out the facts. The head of the department knew that this was a lawyer and immediately became nervous. Always avoid the question that Yang Wu asked. The body also makes many small movements. Looking at him like that made Yang Wu remember.
To the person with Pinocchio at this time,
Min Wu called and told the trustee that he had a firm grasp of this case. Tell him not to worry, but this. It made Yang Wu very worried again. As from when she joined this law firm, she was in every case. Winning has never lost before this time. Cooperating with Min Wu, she didn't want to lose. So for the first time, she went against her conscience. She told the trustee that if the head of the department goes to court to testify, then it can bring extremely good results. Then he said because of the specialness. In the case, the clone was just like him. Even if you don't tell the truth, you don't have to suffer any punishment in court. Head of the department right away. After that, take a breath. Yang Wu. Tell him not to do those actions, because in court other people will easily recognize.
He's stressed out for lying.
Yang Wu originally didn't want to use this trick. Only then can you see the end of the rope. In her heart indeed, in this trial. Because there was preparation, the witness showed. Excellent, even the trustee. Knowing Qin General, he also shed tears. Yang Wu. Go back to your place, lawyer Deng Chuk. Glad that the lawsuit was successful, but Min Wu. He didn't bother to look at her face. Then bring. All the credit is taken from me. After that, the trustee gave her a gift. It is a sunflower painting that shows good luck. He also arbitrarily decided to remove the lawyer's certificate. Yours to get down and hang it up then. Yang Wu received a letter from the other company. They asked her why she knew Qin Chen. Without exposing it, everyone relies on the same project to make a product, but the other party wants to sue them for plagiarism in order to prevent them from consuming goods text. The sanctioning decision has not yet been made, but the customer has came to ask for a return. The company is now standing on the verge of bankruptcy. Perhaps this is as a result, unscrupulous lawyers like you. What do you want to see? Yang Wu finished reading it. Very sad. she realized that she was just. Because he wanted to win the lawsuit but did not find out the truth of the matter. When she was heartbroken and wanted someone to care, only Su Ziyong was the one who stood up. Help her, Yang Wu said. Su Ziyong. It's like spring sunshine for coins. Ziyong has always been the one who shows Yang Wu everything. Vices when studying in law school and is a standing person. RA defended her when she was teased by her friends. Hearing these sincere words made Su Ziyong also. Jayap was in tears after the efforts. Finally, the lawsuit has a new development. The enemy finds a machine that is enough to prove. Everyone is referring to the same product basic. There is no copying. See everything. It has been resolved. The other company has also won the lawsuit, but they are also about to face on the verge of bankruptcy in the process of collecting the case. The trustee company has signed the contract. For all businesses are products. They were sold out. This is the purpose. His last Yang Wu was sad. It's not because this is the first time she has lost a lawsuit. Because she knew very well that the truth had been buried. Just because he wanted to win the lawsuit, but here, again, it is the standard behavior of a lawyer person. She must serve as her trustee. Customer benefits are the minimum condition. Laid out right in front of her for the first time. Yang Wu doubted himself. I don't. Thinking doesn't stop them, and I became a helper. Obviously, I knew the truth, but I was pretending to be a fool of myself. Returning to her office, the tool holding the letter that the other party sent her last time. Then he took down the sunflower painting and pasted the letter in that place. She used it to warn herself. In order not to be a lawyer who does not look at the truth and must have professional ethics. Must be an elite lawyer who clearly distinguishes right from wrong. This woman hugged her child and ran to the orphanage. The nurse in the hospital was worried about her. Afraid that she would keep hugging her child like that. She was very tired, so she told her to take the baby to her side. But the woman was afraid to hide. She said that she had to give the baby sleeping pills to make him sleep. Definitely not to wake her up. The nurse was very surprised and didn't understand why she did it. The woman also seemed to see the suspicion in her eyes. She quickly explained that she was a North Korean refugee. Moreover, she was about to go to prison. She didn't want her daughter to be bullied or despised. That's why I took her to the orphanage. She also didn't want her daughter to witness her departure with her own eyes. That's why she gave her sleeping pills, but in the end she woke up crying and calling her mother. No matter how much she cried, she resolutely turned her head and left. This lawsuit was handled by Sizian. Lawyer Dung felt that she was overly concerned about this. Afraid that her mood would be unstable, he hoped that Yang Wu would come to find Sizian and tell her. When Yang Wu ran to Sizian's office, he was surprised by the scene in front of him. This place is now like a garbage dump, so she completely considers this her home. I don't know what it is like to get off work or take a break, and even feel free to change clothes right in front of Yang Wu. Sizian wanted Yang Wu to come to the prison with her for a while to visit the person involved. Find out the specific situation of this case. But they didn't expect that the person in the mood was very good. She felt that there was a much better place to eat and sleep here than when she was outside. But before she could finish her exclamation, Yang Wu interrupted and directly asked why she was in prison. The litigant immediately told them everything. The adoptive mother who picked her up here owes her a temporary amount of money that has not been paid. Besides, there were also people who owed her a sum of money. So she immediately sent her and another person to collect debts. She also agreed to go with the person to ask for money, and she also owed this person a sum of money. Therefore, after claiming that money, they will be divided in half. As a result, when the two people came to the house, the debtor found that the person did not lock the door. Both negotiators, if they want to ask for money, they must show a hammer like a little bit of a commission scam. So they quickly ran to grab their weapons. Her teammates kept seeing what was smashing it, wanting to assign someone to ask for it quickly. As a result, the neighbors under the house heard the noise, so they called the police. After that, both were arrested and sentenced to 4 years in prison before the opening of the trial. She fled. Until now, after more than 4 years, she has returned to confess. There was only one reason she fled. Her husband was killed in a car accident. She herself is a refugee. She is afraid that when she is not here, there will be no one to take care of her daughter. At that time, she was too young. If she was taken to prison in the future, her daughter would no longer remember her face. Now that she is an adult, she has also taken her to the orphanage, so there is no need to worry about anything in the future. She also just wished she was like her comrades. Only 4 years in prison, then she can be reunited with her daughter. After listening to her story, she was very touched. Yang Wu was determined to help this woman reduce her crime to the lowest level. This made the lawyer tremble. Originally, he and Yang Wu went to advise Xian not to be too stubborn. Now it's good that both of these people are the same. Then Yang Wu, Su Xian, and Junho went to meet the debtor that year, unexpectedly encountering this scene again. His actions made Yang Wu feel very scared. Su Xian and Junho hurriedly got their hands dirty to protect her. They were about to call the police when the aunt next to her held the phone to call. Very quickly, the first trial took place. Yang Wu interrupted the other lawyer's words, and the judge also interrupted her. "Where is your hometown?" He asked this simply because he wanted to remind her that she had to get her hands dirty in the future. The victim was also here. Her whole face was injured, making everyone sitting here feel confused. Su Xian saw this and told the truth. The letters on her face were all made by her husband. A few years ago, he was also convicted because of this. On the second day she was beaten, the defendant came to the house to collect debts. Therefore, the police misunderstood that the victim's face was hit by the two men. Unexpectedly, the victim said that he didn't remember anything. She did not admit that she was beaten by her husband, which made the defendant very agitated. Lawyer Deng wants to dispel this tense atmosphere, so he plans to propose to suspend the trial. Who would have expected to be stopped by Yang Wu, because if he wanted to interrupt the judge, he had to get his hands dirty first. At the next trial, the examining doctor also came to write a wound for the victim. But he is the anti of North Korean refugees. Because of personal grudges, she denied that the writing on the victim's face was due to being beaten by her husband. He said that it was caused by the debt collector, and the lawsuit quickly fell into a disadvantage. So Yang Wu brought the defendant's daughter over. "I want them to be able to meet once before the final verdict is made." Looking at the scene of the mother and daughter of the two of them hugging each other, Yang Wu immediately remembered his former self. Why did the other friends all have their parents by their side, and she only has one father? Since she was a child, her mother has abandoned the father and daughter. Therefore, Yang Wu no longer remembered what his mother looked like. Even if one day when the two of you are on the road, you pass each other, surely they don't recognize each other either. Therefore, she also does not want other children to have to be orphans like her. She ran to see the judge privately. Although this is a violation, she wants to express her heart. However, for people, the words she said were just rants, words of the wind and clouds. Basically, there is no sufficient basis. The law is the law without the mistress. The judge appreciates the attitude of young people like them. But the result is still unchangeable. Although his mouth said so, he more or less recognized Yang Wu's thoughts. He believes that the law is fair and just, and the end result does not disappoint everyone. The defendant was sentenced to 1 year and 9 months in prison, exempted from 3 years in prison. The reason is very simple. People risk their lives to find excuses but forget the most basic thing. That is the defendant who came to confess. This is the most basic reason for getting a reduction in crime. Moreover, she didn't cause too much harm, and even the debt couldn't be recovered. Besides, she is also a good mother, so the judge agreed to reduce the crime. Today, Yang Wu's law court has a new case. The government wants to build a new road. It needs to pass through a village. But all the villagers disagreed. Before the construction of the subway station, they also passed through their village. After that, a garbage incineration station was built in the village. Now, if you want to build this road, you have to move a lot of households. But the amount of compensation did not discourage the people. This leaves the villagers without shelter. The subway makes them sound good all day long. And this work makes the air here polluted. They could bear those things, and this time to build this new road, they resolutely disagreed. So the village chief came to find a lawyer. He wanted to sue the government. Hopefully they can reverse this decision or change the route. But this lawsuit is very difficult. Because after all, this is a public lawsuit. The lawyer does not dare to guarantee anything. He plans to ask an expert in this field before making a decision. After experts reviewed the situation, they all thought that going through their village was the best route. It is also the most money-saving. Therefore, he immediately thought that this lawsuit had no chance of winning, so he insisted on rejecting them. But the village chief didn't want to give up. He told him to come to the village to investigate, and then the company made a decision. Yang Wu also followed them outside. The last time she saw Juno talking together with Suzian. It should be misunderstood that he likes her, not me. That made her very disappointed, so she had to sadly tie the knot for the two of them. This made all three of them extremely embarrassed. She didn't know that Juno's crush was actually her. When going up Yangwu Mountain, he unfortunately fell. Juno was the first to run to help her up and brush off the stains on her body. Seeing that her shirt was torn, he immediately took off his shirt and put it on her. He always showed concern for her wherever he was. Actually, neither of them had the courage to express their feelings. After arriving in the village, they saw the charming, poetic scenery here. Along with the fresh air, they decided to keep the beauty of this place alone. So the next day they agreed to take on the lawsuit. Everyone is full of life. But in the face of a huge amount of work, it immediately squirmed like a spray ball. Seeing Juno's concern for Yang Wu, Su Ziyan immediately saw that he had a crush on Yang Wu. So her friend cheered Yang Wu very much and mustered up all her courage to face it. I see that Juno seems to like you. What are you going to do? You like Juno too, don't you? But Yang Wu said that it was very difficult for someone to like me. I know that she is very beautiful and I am autistic. Who would have thought that as soon as he finished speaking, he was scolded by Su Ziyan. Don't say those words, it's not difficult. Hearing these words from Su Ziyan, Yang Wu remembered that he was with Juno that day. And she was sure she liked him too. So Yang Wu ran to find Zulumi to remember to help. Zulumi told her, if you want to confirm whether you like him or not, just touch him. If his heart beats wildly, proving that he likes the other party, this makes Yang Wu doubt human life. She didn't know what to do in the end. Very quickly, the first trial was opened, but unexpectedly, the other party was the queen of the world, lawyer Tazumi. She had just appeared, and then overwhelmed everyone who was here. It was obviously the first time she had met, but she felt like she had known each other. Tazumi is not ashamed to be the queen. After lawyer Jung proposed a thesis, using other options to build a route, she immediately used the form of 3D simulation, quickly denying those options. Moreover, just a few brief sentences have provoked the people. A clutch of their language page captures them for the crime of disrupting social speech. A series of consecutive blows made Ian Wu's side unable to carry his hand and put an end to the trial. Tazumi's contagious aura and arrogant confidence made Ian Wu feel that she was really wax Alex. When Ian Wu's father saw her looking up documents about his mother, he couldn't help but be surprised. Perhaps the thing he was most worried about had already happened? Moreover, it seems that his daughter worships her very much. This made him feel uneasy, so he turned to his juniors. It was Director Han. He thought that everything was arranged by her. One is that he wants to one day be able to take advantage of Ian Wu to defeat his mother and make my law firm the best. He hoped that if she really took advantage of Ian Wu, then one time would be enough. Although a father like him does not want his children to be taken advantage of, but he knew that his daughter's autism had given her a big obstacle. Even though she is a valedictorian who graduated from law school, no law firm dares to accept her. Only the director's company was for her to save her life. Whatever her purpose, fathers like him don't want to see their children thrown away when there is no longer any value to take advantage of. Then he went out and happened to meet Ian Wu. He hurriedly said that he had come here to find a friend, and then left. But Min Wu immediately saw the problem. He said he came here to find a friend and came out of the director's office. He guessed that Ian Woo was the one who had the backing, and that person was none other than Director Han. At rest, Suzian met Junho's face, so she spoke frankly. She could also see that Junho actually meant to Ian Woo. Therefore, he immediately reminded him, Ian Woo is a very sensitive person. If you're just a momentary emotion, don't think about the future with her, then don't hurt her. The next trial begins. Ian Woo found a clue about the construction company's illegal work. According to the law, from before planning, they must first conduct an assessment that has an impact on the environment in that place. However, before the 2-year assessment, they had already completed the plan, so the plan was invalid. Sumi retorted even though they had already completed the plan. But there are many options. The determination of the planning plan is still after the evaluation period. Just as the trial was about to fail again, Ian Woo's fishing friend rose up again, bringing new thoughts to her. Ian Woo repeatedly flipped through the documents he had looked at in his head, finally finding a suitable answer. Before determining the road construction plan, the company unilaterally rejected the people's letter of complaint. And flipping through the evaluation report, Ian Woo not only clarified the name of that document, but I also remember the details of the content written on the page. She recited without mercy a word. That great ability helped the case when the opportunity to reconsider. That evening, at the end of work, Ian Woo called Junho and asked if she could touch him. She wanted to confirm if she liked him. Didn't you have to touch me to confirm it? I wanted to check how fast my heart could beat when I touched him. But when Junho approached, she involuntarily stepped back. When the two people's eyes met, Ian Woo involuntarily closed his eyes. But when he was about to kiss, Ian Woo felt that his heart was about to explode, so he pushed him away and ran away. After she got home, Mr. Wong coughed for preventing her from seeing her mother. So I told her that she was able to join the Hanbara law firm. It was because of his relationship with Director Han. He wanted to use it as an excuse for Ian Woo to give up his intention to become a lawyer. This fact shocked her very much. She thought it was because of her strength, but it turned out to be because of the relationship. This made her unacceptable. At the same time, Min Woo came to One Tynet and posted anonymously on the company's internal forum. He implied that Ian Woo relied on his father's friendship with the director, so he went through the back door. He thinks that it is unfair to employees who are recruited by competence. Very quickly, the rumors in the company warmed up and became a topic for colleagues to talk about. Although it was an anonymous article, it was quickly spotted by Suzian. She questioned him why he did this. Of course, she was not the only one who saw it. Director Han used the excuse of talking about accessories to come here to give suggestions to everyone. But in fact, they wanted to point out Min Woo. They came up with a countermeasure for this lawsuit. It is for the judge to personally come to the scene so that he can see the actual situation there. Hopefully, we can change the outcome. But the director thought they were too naive. Even so, the times have not changed. So she suggested that they bring a reporter with them, creating a wave of public opinion to put pressure. It's like someone posting in a company forum. And although this sentence of hers did not specify who it was, it also touched someone's black heart. Suzian also told this story to Yang Woo. But unexpectedly, she admitted herself and got this thanks to the relationship between her father and the director. This made Suzian very angry. It is clear that Yang Woo is an excellent lawyer and does much better than others. Just because I have autism, I lose confidence. Suzian told Yang Woo, if Min Woo is still like that, don't be polite to him. You have to aggressively teach him a game. The day the judge came to the field, an unexpected situation appeared before Su Mai proposed to use high compensation. In order to make the villagers no longer oppose the construction. Some people have accepted to sign the village chief's name and lead people to under the ancient tree. Want to impress by showing the natural harmony of the village. But the weather was not very supportive, so it destroyed the atmosphere. So the judge felt that he didn't need to look at it anymore, so most of the villagers agreed. Then the petition will be returned. The other lawyer also took this opportunity to tease Yang Woo about the company. She hoped that after this, she could go to work. Unexpectedly, their conversation was seen by Min-woo. When Yang-woo came back, he began to talk about the wind. This time, Yang-woo would have been tougher if he had said that again. I'm going to punch you in the back of the neck or punch you hard in the stomach. I won't let you overwhelm me anymore. This snake look of Yang-woo made him burst into flames. He also admitted that he did it. After that, he came here to ask Yang-woo to go to the door to become a lawyer. Yang-woo also felt that he should learn to be independent. It can't be like what others say. Only rely on your father. When she got home, she immediately said that she wanted to go to work for her father. Then carry your luggage and want to go out on your own. The father only had to tell her the truth that had been hidden for so long. That woman is the mother of the child who gave birth to the child. A faint Yang-woo fell from the top of the stairs. In the hospital, her father finally told her everything in the past. He and her mother knew each other in college, but because of their youth, they had her. It was also because of that the two of them woke up. How can a poor boy be worthy of a rich lady? Both are very young. Because of her future plans, her mother broke up with him to keep Yang-woo. Her father knelt down and begged Sumi to give birth to her. After that, he would take her out of here, never to appear in front of her mother again. Just like that, Yang-woo was born favorably, and they would never see each other again. As promised, Yang-woo suddenly sat up when the inspiring wind blew through. The whale jumped out of the water. Yang-woo has found the key to break the tide. The ancient trees in the village are considered by experts to be a nature conservation heritage. It's just that at that time it was still not licensed. It was necessary to have someone come to inspect. Then apply for a permit to become a conservation area. Then several hundred square kilometers of land will be retained, not allowed to be touched. Even if they couldn't build a road, they would consider it as a victory. But despite winning the case, Yang-woo was not very happy. After the trial ended, she went to see her mother, who wanted to tell her about their relationship. I am the daughter of Mr. Wang Ho, and I already know who Tae Sumi really is. So I thought I couldn't do it in numbness. I was going to leave Hanbara because I wanted to be independent from my father and become an independent person. But I can't go to my mother, let alone be the one who was born and then threw me away. Now that mother didn't recognize her either, Yang-woo's mother tried to control her emotions. Asking Yang-woo if she hated him, she didn't know that this question was too difficult. For someone who doesn't recognize emotions like Yang-woo, she doesn't know what it feels like. Yang-woo remembered and said, when the two of them stood in front of the ancient tree together and talked, she was very happy. Transferring these children who were on their way to the bus, not to go home, but to go to the learning centers. On the bus, the driver was sleeping soundly in the passenger seat, and in the driver's seat was a strange young man. He introduced himself as Gu Pipong. Pipong was the commander-in-chief of the Children's Liberation Army. Pipong claimed to have taken over this bus. The car will not go to the academy anymore, but will take the students out. With many funny humors, Pipong has won the hearts of the students on the bus. He also said that if anyone wants to go to school, please get off the bus. Others will be able to go out to liberate their youth. Hearing that they could go out, the students were all excited to agree, without telling their parents. Later, Pipong drove the bus to a mountain and expressed his desire to play with the students. For nearly 4 hours, after the driver woke up, he discovered and reported to the police. At this time, Jun-ho and Yang-yu were in court, and Yang-ye's face had suspicious hair. Originally, it could be easily dismissed, but Jun-ho seemed extremely tense. This intimate act of Jun-ho made Yang-yu unconsciously remember the night before. Her heart was beating again. Yang-yu realized that it was because she already liked Jun-ho that she had this feeling. Yang-yu, whose heart was in a state of flux, did not dare to stay any longer, used the excuse to meet the accused, and hurriedly ran away. This time, the case she is in charge of is the case of kidnapping a young man of Pipong. Pipong is the son of the Mujin Academy. He stole the same academy car that his mother managed. Although it did not cause any harm, it was still sued by the Procuratorate for the crime of kidnapping minors. Pipong told Yang-yu that his goal was to help the children laugh happily. Although it was not so good when I looked at it, but Yang-yu, He also couldn't expect that Pipong would be her most untrustworthy defender. Upon hearing the judge's questioning, Pipong declared himself the commander-in-chief of the Children's Liberation Army. Address is to live in the heart of a child. Such an unusual and exaggerated answer made Yongyu not know what to say. As a result, Pipong was placed in custody by the judge. Right at the trial, Pipong's mother was forever obsessed with fostering other people's children, without realizing that my child has gone in the wrong direction. She begged me as long as I didn't have to sit in the cupboard, she vowed to do everything. Yongyu now not only the case is not favorable, and since she confessed her love for Junhua, she has not had any opinions. Yongyu felt a headache and didn't know what to do. And Zulami confirmed that Junhua already liked Yongyu. Her best friend told Yongyu that she should do it when she likes people. Those words made the baby whale feel enlightened. The next day when he met Pipong, he told her. They are arranged by adults to give all kinds of classes. The study took up all their time as if they were locked between walls. Parents of new schools and academies are the biggest enemies in their growing up. The 4 hours he spent with the kids. He let them play to their heart's content, doing what they felt happy about, so that they can bake sweet potatoes with their own hands. At that time, each child smiled brightly, like the sun. Let the children see new things and still feel happy. That is the purpose of him taking the children to the desert mountain. Yongwu suddenly noticed that Pipong seemed to be emitting some special brilliant aura. When it was time to eat, Juno unexpectedly didn't talk to the whale, but all talked about Pipong. It made Juno also very bitter, but the force disagreed. He asked Juno why he was talking about him. She replied because she liked being with Pipong very much. Juno feels jealous because he sees Juno talking about other people for the first time and is so happy. At this moment, Yongwu suddenly remembered what her best friend had said. That is to pull a chair for the person you like. So she hurriedly pulled a chair to help Juno. Seeing that he liked to eat pickled radish, she immediately gave his salted radish to him. It turns out that liking a person is as simple as that. As for Juno, he felt that something was wrong but couldn't say it. On the contrary, Yongwu looked at him again and kept smiling innocently. On the day Yongwu went to court to defend Pipong, he suddenly admitted all the charges. He actively admitted that he had quit the driver and then took the children up the mountain. He didn't want the kids to have the impression of lying. The defendant suddenly objected to the words of the defense lawyer. This made the judges all naive. The lawyers tied their hands only to find a way from the parents of the children. If the children were all very fond of Pipong, maybe they could convince their parents not to pursue it anymore. Yongwu and Juno went to the place where the children usually go. No, the extra class lasts from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. If you go to the toilet more than 2 times during that time, you will be said to be lazy. Moreover, it is also stipulated before 10 p.m. No rice, only 10 minutes after school to eat completely. It's a kind of super pressure education like a prison. Yongwu noticed that the children were all wearing fruits, just like the one that Pipong had picked up in the mountains, to be forgiven by parents to help their children avoid and escape from prison. The institute knelt down in front of them to plead. She said Pipong was a stupid child with a problematic mind. He didn't understand what he meant by what he said. She also guaranteed that she would strictly discipline her son in the future. In the end, the parents signed the complaint form. Before leaving, Yongwu couldn't help but say just now that she shouldn't have said that Pipong was a stupid child. The abbot laughed at her words. A person who has just met a few days later can understand better than a mother like her. Yongwu kept replying, I have only met him a few times, and I can still see that he is good. Shouldn't a mother like her think better? Shouldn't she have opened her heart to listen to what he had to say? After these words, the abbot was deeply shocked. At the court hearing, the doctor said that Boom was paranoid like that, so he could avoid punishment. But it was at this moment that Yongwu's premonitions suddenly blew. The elephant singer suddenly appeared in the courtroom, as if saying something to Yongwu. So Yongwu stood up and began to talk about the super pressure form of education in the academy. Along with the current situation of children losing their childhood, everyone agrees. Yang Wu proved that Pipong's concept was not wrong. He is also not a paranoid patient, replacing the original plan that is about to collapse. Lawyer Deng just intended to stop her. Pipong took the initiative to speak up again, wanting to hear Yang Wu finish speaking. The abbot also saw his son have such a face for the first time. At this moment, Pipong's eyes seemed to be emitting an endless aura. If you follow the paranoid disease, you can avoid the scene of cultivation. But controlling Yang Wu is unacceptable is to say that a person radiates a positive aura. Becoming a mental patient is an extreme humiliation. As the defendant's defense lawyer, she will defend the defendant's spiritual dignity. Pipong also expressed that he has no regrets for what he has done. If he has the opportunity, he will strive hard for his faith. At this time, the case could not be turned around, and the case that could have been solved was ruined by Yang Wu. Min Wu angrily asked the lawyer why he didn't punish Yang Wu. Lawyer Deng was very dissatisfied with the fact that Min Wu openly demanded to punish her. He said that Min Wu seemed to like to be punished terribly, so he wrote such an article on the company's website. If you disagree while working, you should discuss it together to solve the problem. I always distinguish right from wrong in order to be punished. I don't work like that. Finally, during the announcement, the children were brought here. Pipong also taught them a lesson to play to their heart's content to grow up. He told them that in the future, even if they encounter difficulties, they must be brave to move on. When Yang Wu finished working, Deng Hua finally took all the courage to confess his love to her. I like you. Hearing Yang Wu's confession of love is empty. For a moment, he didn't know how to deal with it. She panicked and chose to run away. The best friend was angered by Yang Wu's actions. The opportunity comes to the door without knowing how to seize it. Zulimi hurriedly comforted Yang Wu. If Deng Hua has confessed his love, they can try to date them, then slowly get to know each other. Therefore, Yang Wu specially made a list of jobs when he asked them for flowers. Rome Hua was surprised by this unique idea, and the relationship was finally established. What is it like to date them with someone with autism? Before the two of them were about to hold hands, Yang Wu took out his phone from his pocket to stop the time. Because of the influence of autism, she couldn't hold hands like a normal person. Even her boyfriend, she could only endure it for 57 seconds. Rome Hua held Yang Wu's hand for the first time in his heart as happy as a flower, and Yang Wu was also immersed in it. But the time of happiness is short, time passes very quickly. For a moment, she had reached the limit she could bear. The next day, on the subway, Yang Wu happened to meet the police who were arresting criminals. She immediately pointed out the illegality in the judgment enforcement process. The police were surprised and asked her if she was a lawyer. Yang Wu introduced himself as a lawyer at the Hanbara law firm. Reading backwards is still Yang Wu, which she didn't expect was because she declared herself. The other boy, Yang Zhongyin, came directly to her to remember to defend. So, when you join an organization for people with disabilities, he and a disabled girl named Haiyang fell in love and had a relationship. After that, Zhongyin was sued in court by the girl's mother. Although it was hard for ordinary people to love people with disabilities, Suzian said, people with disabilities are all very simple. No one can wake up to their right to love and their love path. Yang Wu sympathized, so he agreed to take on this task. Even though she knew the win rate was very low, she still decided to defend the case. Lawyer Deng also chose to support Yang Wu. In order to prevent her from getting hurt, Suzian was especially bold and advised Yang Wu to stay calm. At the trial, he was the defense lawyer for the defendant. Yang Wu used his status as a lawyer with autism to make speeches to minimize people's aggressive emotions. But when she shows the conversation, Zhongyin and Haiyang's relationship arises. To conclude that the two are in a normal love relationship immediately leads to a curse. After that, the doctor said that the girl with an intellectual disability would not be able to distinguish whether the other party was malicious or not. Moreover, the girl's report page recorded that she felt both scared and disliked during sex. The case seems to be very clear. Taking the description of the victim is decisive. In front of the bathroom, Haiyang looked for Yang Wu as if she had something to say. But it was at this time that her mother appeared and stopped eating. Ha-young could only say one sentence. She would be alone when she arrived in Haiphong and was dragged away by her mother. But this place Yongwoo had never heard of. At this time, Su Zian came and said to Yongwoo, Zhongyin had previously joined a similar group and fell in love with someone with a disability. Therefore, still being investigated by the police, Yongwoo in anger could not accept the bullying of people with disabilities. Therefore, she decided to withdraw from this case. In the evening, Yongwoo and Junho are dating, and they happen to meet his classmate. The girl realized that Yongwoo was disabled before and thought that Junho was just pitying her. Yongwoo soon got used to such discriminatory remarks. Jun coughed and hurriedly explained, seeing that his classmates didn't believe that he had admitted that they were dating. At this time, Yongwoo discovered that the other girl's cup had the word Haiphong printed on it, and immediately the wind of inspiration was aroused. The elephant jumped out of the water again. Yongwoo made a big discovery. It turned out that Haiphong was the place where the girl who wanted to meet Yongwoo after arriving at the designated place indeed found hope. She says that she and Jongin are genuinely in love with each other. The copies she gave to the police was also her mother who made her speak. Because her mother hates men, she feels that men are not good. Yongwoo quickly reminded Jongin that he had borrowed community welfare in the past to deal with people with disabilities. Hi, Jongin all know these things, and even so she still likes the other person unconditionally. Yongwoo realized that he had misunderstood. So tell her that as long as she tells the truth in court, Jongin won't have to go to jail. Like the day of going to court, when the lawyer read the victim's statement. Under strong pressure from his mother, Ha-young still couldn't tell the truth in the end. And the end result of the case was that Jongin was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Ha-young didn't dare to tell the truth, could only sit there and cry endlessly about her boyfriend. Yongwoo's heart also trembled. Couldn't people with disabilities really be happy? In the evening, Juno and his classmates gather. A friend thinks that falling in love with a disabled person is not love. Just pity the poor girl. After returning home to live in the corridor, he met Yongwoo, who was full of anxiety because of the case. For people with disabilities, just liking the other person doesn't seem to be enough. Even if she says this is love, if others say no, it means it's not. Juno senses Yongwoo's insecurity. So even if others say no, if we say it's love, it's love. After speaking, he immediately approached Yongwoo himself, and she instinctively stepped back. To dispel her insecurities, Juno took a step back. Yongwoo's gaze was straight at Juno. Thanks to love, perhaps she surpassed herself bravely and took a step forward to take the initiative to kiss him. But in another place, more than 20 years away, he first came to Yongwoo's father. In order to avoid being exposed, Yongwoo is an illegitimate child who affects his participation in the death contest. She wanted to let the father and daughter work at her branch in the United States. This scene was captured by a reporter. In order to find out more information about Yongwoo, he revealed this exclusive news to Minwo. This fact makes it hard to believe. Minwo goes to find a colleague who studied with Yongwoo and learns that the other party has actually taken a year off from school. The calculation of time completely coincides with the time when Yongwoo was born. The next day when he went to work, Yongwoo left early and sat in front of the company door just because he wanted to wait for Juno to go to work. Having a phobia of emotional awareness, she does not know the basic perception of emotions. Even if Juno walked past in front of her, she sat still and didn't speak. Unless he spotted her first, Juno wondered why Yongwoo was sitting here. Yongwoo said that because she wanted to see him, she waited. Juno was very curious if he was waiting for him here after not taking the initiative to call him. Just now, his sister almost disappeared. Yongwoo thought for a while, and then said that the purpose of her waiting was to see him. And now that she had seen him, Yongwoo's answer always surprised him unpredictably. At this moment, Yongwoo received a new case. A man holding a woman, seemingly not paying attention to the eyes of the people around him. Because her high heels were broken, her husband had cold and sore legs, so he carried her to the office. Then he put his wife down on the chair and was relieved. From the screen, Perhaps everyone is smelling the smell of rice. The two of them are the trustees of the case. The husband and two friends bought 3 lottery tickets together, but one of them won the first prize. The total prize is up to 62 billion. They have made an appointment when there is a winner. The prize will be divided equally into 3 parts. But friends are like kicking pants. The other friend at this time turned around as if he didn't know each other, refusing to accept that there was such an appointment. Because at that time, only the appointment was not recorded in writing or recording. Therefore, it is very difficult to prove the sincerity of that appointment. In addition, the money they used to buy lottery tickets obtained from illegal card play, which violates the civil code, become an unprotected case. The other husband heard that and said that he would reunite with you to hide the source of money to buy lottery tickets. Yengu disagreed. You're going to lie. Lying in court is absolutely impossible. At this time, the wife began to hit the emotion, saying that he was a good husband and father. Not long before that, he opened a cafe with people and was also deceived. At present, the two of them can only live in a rented house with their 2 children. The whole family relies on her rice shop to support as long as they can claim the bonus every day. Their whole family can get out of a difficult situation. Perhaps because he was touched by the sincere affection of the two, Yengu decided to help him again. So she went with her husband to meet witnesses again. Fortunately, the waiter at that time helped the 3 of them buy lottery tickets and heard the promise to share the prize. As long as the waiter is willing to testify in court, the victory will increase a lot. But the waiter was very afraid to go to court. So the husband hurriedly pulled him to speak. As long as he was willing to testify, I will repay you generously. Who would have thought that at this time, Yengu would say that he couldn't give him money? Agreeing to provide money with overpaid daily wages for people to testify is an illegal act. Testimony will be considered null and void. Seeing that the Yengu was so stubborn, the husband could only silently express himself with expressions to the waiter. But on the day of the trial, that waiter did not appear. Because he is an illegal settler, if he comes forward to testify, he may be deported. This time they are at a stalemate again. When the Yengu is working overtime, he calls Juno. Before answering the call, Juno hurriedly adjusted his appearance and auditioned for a voice again. But just after saying a sentence, the Yengu was about to hang up. Because she videotaped her just to see Juno. Now that she saw it, she had achieved her goal. But Juno didn't want to hang up yet. I told Yengu, you have to consider your feelings as well. Later, please confirm a little if you want to hang up. Under Juno's guidance, Yengu learned to tell jokes for the first time. The two seemed to get along very well and talked extremely happily. Before hanging up, Yengu said to Juno, for some reason his figure kept popping up in her mind recently. It's like a whale. This was a feeling she had never had before. For a person with autism spectrum disorder like Yengu, it is impossible to accurately judge emotions like this. When Juno heard her say that, he laughed happily and looked very stupid to himself. On the day of the trial, a new witness suddenly appeared. Unexpectedly, it was the girl who worked at the bar they met earlier. She said that she had heard the promise of the 3 of them and divided it evenly. Their friend often gets agitated and says she is lying. He also told her that she had an illicit relationship with the other husband, and said that they were scammers and had colluded with the plaintiff in advance. But he had no evidence, and the waitress naturally didn't admit it. The husband sitting inside secretly dropped his heart for her. The waitress showed a satisfied smile. But they didn't know that Yongwoo sitting on the side had seen it all. The armor told Yongwoo that there was something very strange. She watched the 2 people intently, always feeling that something was wrong. In the end, thanks to those testimonies, the lawsuit was won. The 2 of them each got 14 billion prize money. His wife was overjoyed and couldn't hold back her tears of happiness. But the thing is that she doesn't see the look in her husband's eyes when he looks at her, which is full of hatred. The bad husband began to reveal his true nature to complete this play. He just grabbed his wife's hand and pretended to comfort her. The next day, this husband was still happy to bring his wife's lunchbox to thank Yongwoo. But then he asked her again if he divorced his wife, would he have to share the bonus? Yang-woo didn't think much of it and said that the prize was obtained by luck, so it was not part of the property to be divided. When the poor man heard this, his joy fell into joy. At this time, Yang-woo realized that he seemed to have done something wrong. So she hurriedly found Jun-ho and Soo Zeon to negotiate. That despicable poor man had money to mess with, but his wife and 2 children were too pathetic. But that guy was their bulldozer. They couldn't tell his wife about it directly. So Jun coughed quickly and said that he could use objects to represent people. Just like that, the two silently told the wife with the true face of that silver bastard. If he wanted to divide the property, the only chance was to get the evidence of the bad name promised to his wife. When Jun-ho and Yang-woo went to see the mistress wife, seeing him and the pub girl being intimate with each other again, the two of them were cheating on each other publicly. The name of the woman who won the lottery of 14 billion, can no longer suppress her nature. As soon as he got the money, he quietly found a way to divorce his wife. Yang-woo didn't look at his sister-in-law who was deceived by him. But when they reminded her that she had just seen that rotten husband making trouble, waiting after he left, the two of them came in to inquire. It turned out that since he got the money, he started swinging his socks and spent 300 million to buy a luxury car to get a look. My sister-in-law didn't agree, so there was a scene where he got mad just now. At this time, she still didn't know that her husband's other car was much more expensive. She still thinks that her husband treats her and her children very well. When Yang-woo heard it, he felt angry and his head smoked. So she and Junhwa sat down and followed the plan. They deliberately speak out loud to tell a story. The two people who tossed people were extremely compatible. Except that the name of the person is changed to the name of the other object. It is exactly the same as the story of her house. In that story, the husband not only wants a divorce, but also does not want to give his wife and children a single penny. It sounded even more angry at that time. That bad guy still had a child outside. Because there is often a saying that rich people change friends, and when they change wives. It's really unbelievable. Yang-woo saw that his sister-in-law was still half believing and half incredulous, and could only remind her, if you don't want to be shaken off by that bad guy like that, you must get the audio recording. Unexpectedly, a few days later, my sister-in-law came to the law office. Although she didn't want to believe it, that traitorous bastard had already proposed a divorce. In order to force her to sign, he went to the restaurant every day to make a disturbance. When her son was about to stop him, that bad guy also beat his own child. Then she remembered that Yang-woo had reminded her to collect evidence. But that traitorous bastard had also prepared early so that he would not have to share any money with his mother and children. Not only did she use her brother's card to receive the award, but the fact that she planned to record was also exposed. He didn't give her any chance to grab his top. Although lawyers Young and Yang-woo also agree with her very much. But after all, he was the one who was their trustee before, so they couldn't take on this case. Moreover, in a situation where there is no evidence, the best result is just to get a little more child support fees. When Jung-ho and Yang-woo came home with her, they saw the bad guy coming out of a nice car. He walked around wild because he was not afraid of the rich, only the new rich. His face kept looking like he was dying, which made Yang-woo afraid. After that, he even challenged them to go over there. My sister-in-law didn't want to be confined here, so she planned to get in the car and leave. But the Minwoo didn't want things to stop here. He hurriedly got into the car and chased after him, pressed the accelerator, and quickly overtook the 3 people on the other side of the road. But the law of cause and effect is that the cage and the apple do not spare anyone. When he crossed the road despite the red light, he was hit by another car from the side. Yang-woo saw it all with his own eyes, so he was seriously attacked. Jung-ho immediately came to her side and hugged her tightly to help her calm down. In the end, the sister-in-law has the right to use all the property. After a big round, he finally returned to his owner. After a period of getting to know each other, Yang-woo has overcome his insecurity. She bravely took a big step. Meanwhile, Minwoo discovered that Yang-woo was Sumi's illegitimate child. So, he used a cunning ploy to cling to it to intimidate her into letting him go to Tsan's village to work. When she heard that, she immediately made her request. If Min-woo can get Yang-woo to leave Hanbara, it doesn't matter if she thinks for herself or gets kicked out of there. Then he will become San's lawyer and her direct subordinate. Yang-woo was caught kissing her boyfriend in front of her father at the door. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have expected her to have a boyfriend. After a fierce psychological struggle, he decided to do a little research to make sure his daughter wasn't cheated. Who would have thought that Yang-woo would deny that he didn't have a boyfriend, which surprised him immensely. Since when did his stupid daughter now know how to lie? It's a good mark, I don't even realize it. This performance deserves an Oscar. He said bluntly that he had seen her kissing Juno downstairs. So the little secret was discovered. When questioned by his father, Yang-woo said that they were not officially dating. Because of her physical and psychological obstacles, she is unable to make an accurate judgment about her emotional problems. So for her, in front of her, the two of them are just dating to get to know each other more deeply. Not a lover. Her father heard about such a simple incident and immediately burst into anger. If you haven't officially dated, you've kissed them all. He had to censor it carefully, who wanted to steal his little daughter. Today, Yang-woo received a very difficult case. When a company adjusted its personnel, they made conditions for couples who work here. It's just that there is one person who can stay if no one takes the initiative to apply for resignation. The company will default to giving husbands a day off. Most wives will actively resign. But 2 female employees filed a lawsuit on the grounds that the company discriminated against women. The former lawyer is in charge of cases related to women's networks and human rights. But the subjects of her lawsuit are usually companies and corporations, so despite having rich experience, and he has never won a female colleague in the company to testify in court. It is said that the company only adjusts personnel very normally and also offers extremely humane policies. She also criticized the people who filed the lawsuit. But unexpectedly, he was exposed by the lawyer on the other side. Right there, her husband had cancer and needed someone to take care of him. So the company gave her 3 months of paid leave so that she could testify in court. After the second trial, the colleague not only didn't blame her for helping the company testify, but also cheering and encouraging. She saw that her conscience was biting, so she constantly apologized. Before leaving, the 2 female employees also bought stomach food for the lawyer. Lawyer Dung was surprised because the plaintiff treated the defendant's lawyer with such enthusiasm. And the Yengu is attracted by the opponent's decorations. Even though he has eaten people's food, he still has work to do. They need to find more evidence of the other 2 female employees actively resigning. On the way, Yengu spotted a nearby taxi with an advertisement, similar to the decorations of a certain employee. Maybe that's the clue they're looking for. Suzian and Minu think it's just that she's too sensitive. But Juno immediately turned around and hurriedly chased after the taxi. Professional treatment of infertility is the Hope Women's Hospital. That night, Minu thought about the deal with Sumi's lawyer. He came up with a perfect plan to get Yengu to leave the Hanbara lawyer's office. How can a mother not give up tricks to make others plot to harm her daughter? Minu wants to be transferred to Sang Law Firm. So, he was forced to find a way to get Yengu to leave the Hanbara. He decided to start by smearing the Hanbara. That night, he went to Yengu's office and began writing to her. Sometimes you will have to take on some jobs that do not belong to the righteous cause. Even helping people with money have power, bullying the weak. Then, he inadvertently mentioned the case of the company adjusting personnel that they had just received. The way to cut down on one person in each couple is suggested by Hanbara. Moreover, they have already devised strategies to deal with all the parts that are not beneficial to the company. Legally, from the very beginning, their actions were aimed at discriminating against women. Then, before leaving, Minu sent back to Yengu all the relevant detailed documents of the case. She immediately went to find Lawyer Dung because she saw that this whole thing was completely a trick set up to trick female employees inside. If they win, they will all become helpers in this case. Take the fact that weak employees are infertile as a point of attack. Doing so is really too despicable. Yengu thought they couldn't deny the case anymore. But at least you should not use such despicable tricks to harm the other party. That way of saying made Lawyer Dung very angry. He says lawyers are not superhumans who protect the world with love and the power of friendship. Their role is to defend and put the protection of the trustees' interests first. Make every effort to prevent or minimize the damage suffered by the trustee. That is the duty of a lawyer. Yengu still didn't give up. He was going to continue explaining. He suspected that Lawyer Deng was angry and slammed the table. Her unruly words made him ruffle his fur in anger. The judge's judgment of right and wrong, not the lawyer's. Yengu asked if he was angry. She told him a series of typical characteristics of anger that often appear in humans. However, Yengu was dumbfounded, making Lawyer Deng both angry and find her very cute. He assigned her to be in charge of questioning, but if she didn't do it smoothly, he would come out himself. His words made her feel extremely awkward as a joke, so she went to find Juno to ask for a teacher. See if it is true that the judge is the one who judges right and wrong. And do lawyers have to be dedicated to defending their clients? Juno said that whether he is a new or experienced lawyer, he has his own answer. But they can't immediately get a conclusion for a moment, but have to give themselves time to think. No matter how Yengu makes a decision, he will also support him unconditionally. On the day of the judge in court, Yengu overcame his own struggle. The questioning was still carried out as planned because the plaintiff had infertility, which was planned to reproduce. So, when the company brought back a proposal to cut the beloved personnel, she would definitely approve. After the trial, the plaintiff's lawyer took the initiative to meet her. She had read about her in the newspaper earlier. Although she is a competitor, she praises a lawyer with autism like her. She even took the initiative to invite her to work with her to speak up with women about workers. Minwo, who was standing from a distance, saw that scene and was secretly happy. Just one more step, he could make the Yengu unable to wait for him. That evening there was a date full of innocence and strangeness. Yengu and Juno go on a date together on the day of their disappearance, but only play the game of finding different points throughout the day. With his keen observation ability, Yengu is like the king of the game. She makes Juno crushed and unable to do anything. She is immersed in the game and completely forgets the existence of her beloved. On the way back, he saw that she kept looking around. From the moment my father said that he had seen the two of them standing and kissing, Yengu always felt like he was watching him. Although her father told her to take Juno home to meet him, Yengu didn't intend to do so, because the two have not officially started going back and forth yet. Juno innocently asked why it hadn't officially started yet. In Yengu's mind, when he has not said the official word of dating, it is not considered to be officially reciprocated. Juno suddenly seemed like a big idiot. He had always tried to find a way to make her happy. And on weekends, Yengu goes to pick up trash all day, or go out to find different points for the whole session. It was all as if they were torturing him. None of them were interesting to him. Yengu asked him why he wasn't happy, but tried to keep playing. Juno could only answer warmly, because he liked her. Yet until now we have not been officially considered dating.
I really feel sad about it.
At the same time, Minwo sneaks into Yengu's office. He searched for documents, pasted the address on it, and then inserted her name. Those are documents that can turn the tide of the case. As long as they are sent in the name of Yengu, when the plaintiff opens it in court, she will be kicked out of the Hanbara. Everything went according to plan, but soon Minwo had to work again. Because the plaintiff's lawyer did not open the document to look at it, but found new evidence. The handbook of the human resources manager of that company. It clearly records the plan to force female employees to quit their jobs by senior leaders. Lawyer Jun gave his opinion. The evidence they have is that the intersection is not a righteous light, so it cannot be effective. At that time, Yengu reminded him that it was part of the criminal procedure code. But this case is a civil procedure. Who would have thought that Mick has not been extinguished? The lawyer on the plaintiff's side clung to that as a way out, strongly offering a rebuttal. Yengu noticed an action by the other party and saw the person who helped them get the notebook. None other than a female colleague who has testified for the company. However, the final verdict was still the company's victory. Because although discrimination against women is real, But the fact that female employees voluntarily quit their jobs is also true. The plaintiff's lawyer may seem to have lost, but in fact she won. After the case was over, she sent the document that Min-woo had secretly sent to Yengu. If she used this, she would definitely be in trouble. Just looking at it, I knew that this was a trick to pick up the fire and leave people's hands. She reminded the Yengu to be careful of the colleagues around her. The next day, the landlord came to look for the Yengu. On the way to move, he was charged an immoral road fee. Taking public roads near the landscape area is forced to collect admission fees. Although he only had 3,000 tickets, he did not swallow this anger. Knowing that a lawsuit for capital loss also lowers his determination, no matter how much it costs to proc-educate. Still want to get an explanation. What is more important is that the location of the crime is in Jeju Island. There was a whale that Yengu loved the most, which was the place she had always wanted to be. And this kind of small case, the big law office will not pay attention. Min-woo also compares goofy Yengu to whales. She innocently thought of the lovely whale in the vast sea. I didn't expect Min-woo to appreciate her so much. She shyly smiled brightly. Wang-di didn't hold much hope. Unexpectedly, Lawyer Dung not only agreed very refreshingly, but he also decided to bring the whole team with him and conveniently invited Jun-ho to accompany him. This is no different from a double job. Jun-ho also decides to take this opportunity to take Yengu to meet his sister, who lives on Jeju Island. About meeting parents, for people with psychological obstacles like her. It feels like carrying a burden on thin shoulders. Zulumi reminded the Yengu to remember 3 factors. When you enter the door, you must praise the beautiful house. Eating food, it must be said that the food is delicious, the cooking ability is great. If you prepare fruits, you must actively show yourself as a good fruit peeler. The most important thing is to maintain a smile that enchants people's hearts. In order to ensure that the Yengu meeting with parents is convenient, Zulumi and the owner decided to follow the process. Such a small case wants to mobilize the people of the whole group. This is not at all Lawyer Dung's blockade. Director Han subtly discovered that Lawyer Dung seemed to have something different. Lawyer Dung smiled again. But who knew that a few days ago while working, he appeared coughing up blood and received a guessing result at the hospital. Right from the start, Lawyer Dung changed his usual way of dressing seriously and transformed into a duplex. Make everyone second, not hold their eyes. Looking at dressing like this is like going on a business trip in the middle of the day. Yang Woo experienced sitting in an airplane for the first time. This strange new feeling made her nervous. Arriving at the bus station, Lawyer Dung did not sit with his colleagues. Instead, he ran to ride in Zulumi's convertible. I kept seeing that there was something not quite right, but I couldn't point it out. People follow the instructions of the immoral route. Sure enough, he met the toll booth of the lunar area. Regardless of whether you visit or not, you just have to pay the road fee, just by passing by. The toll collector did not expect to meet the whole people in the profession this time. He was immediately told by the legal dictionary Yang Woo to the point of doubting human life. Suzian secretly used a camera to record the entire process. After obtaining clues, they still obediently took the money. Don't be surrounded by trees. The green foliage has masked the scorching heat of the sun. It seems that they returned to the arms of nature. No one noticed that at this time, Lawyer Dung was in tears. A few days later, at the trial, Yang Woo was about to make a speech. Then he felt a strong oppression from the opponent. When dozens of eyes look at you, ask if you are afraid. This time it is a case related to a pagoda that is considered a scenic spot for toll collection. Passers-by follow the unscrupulous instructions to the road near the temple. The temple built a toll booth at a nearby intersection. The location is just right on the road where you can't turn around. If you turn around, you will not only be deducted points, but also fined. Therefore, regardless of whether you are passing by or visiting, you can only pay the entrance fee. According to the planning, the road land was originally built for the convenience of foreign tourists. The two sides each have one idea about paying the entrance fee. In the evening, I saw people working overtime to process documents. Lawyer Dung is different from the usual day when he directly meets the computer to put the dossier aside. It is very difficult for everyone to go on a business trip together, so they have to relax a little. Although it seems very strange, no one can expect it. The remaining time of Lawyer Dung is not much. The reason for him to take people to Jeju Island to handle the case. Also because in this place there was a mountain regret. It is difficult to compensate for his anti-spreading soul. Initially, he and his wife went to enjoy a secret week here. But because he is too busy at work, he calls and answers messages anytime and anywhere. Lawyer Dung was not aware that his wife had been cold on one side. He even worked overtime until midnight and ignored the dinner under the candle that his wife had worked so hard to prepare. It wasn't until 8 years later, when his wife proposed a divorce, that he fully came to his senses. I myself have been irresponsible for so many years. However, he did not have a chance to make up. In the evening, Yang-woo and Zulami saw Lawyer Dung sitting alone in the courtyard in pain. He was cold and cried pitifully. The two of them thought that it was just because he was overthinking, so they didn't think much about it. The next day, Yang-woo was fully prepared as planned. She is fully equipped with all the necessary accessories to use flowers to go to the sea to watch whales. But in the end, no whale was found. It was as if in fate there was a foreshadowing. Going to see parents next will also be unfavorable. Hello, my name is Yang-woo. After reading it, no matter how inferred it is all Woo Yang-woo. Yang-woo's one-eo-faken introduction made her sister shake her head in disgust. Before eating, Yang-woo heard that he was preparing the fruit, and Yang-woo immediately said that he could help peel the fruit. The fruit she peeled was both big and round, extremely wonderful, Mr. Sun. But soon a round bowl of grapes was brought up. Next is the most stressful test. For more than 20 years, Yang-woo has only eaten rice rolls. The other dishes for her were not much different. But because he wanted to leave a good impression on the Dung-hoa family, Yang-woo tried to swallow hard and immediately showed a distressed expression. The sister next to her saw that she was not ruthless to let her force her like that. Rong-hwa hurriedly told her not to be reluctant. In the end, she didn't just swallow the food. And acting like enjoying it very honestly and praising the cooking skills is really great. When Yang-woo went to the bathroom, her sister advised Rong-hwa to break up with her. Because his parents will not accept him to be with someone with mental obstacles. Yang-woo behind the door heard everything. For a moment, I didn't know what to do. Moving to the court, the trial had just started when Lawyer Dung's illness broke out directly. He fell to the ground in pain. His skin was suffering from stage 3 stomach cancer, which needed to be treated soon. The chance of living for another 5 years is also less than 40. Yang-woo, because of autism, does not have the same emotional awareness as ordinary people. From her perspective, Lawyer Dung has been told the darkest words for her life. Just like that, count down the time in front of the patient. Even Lawyer Dung felt unwell, and his appetite for rice was gone. Yang-woo suddenly remembered that Lawyer Dung had always wanted to eat Happy Noodles, but unfortunately that shop had stopped selling. Now time is running out. Because he let the Lawyer Dung go away peacefully, he proposed to split up and go to find the owner of that noodle shop. Yang-woo went to a very floating single noodle shop nearby, due to the situation. The owner said that the owner of that Happy Noodle shop is now always following them. But they couldn't make the taste as good as they did, so they had to close the shop. But Dung-ho observed and found that the other chef was behaving very strangely, so he looked for the other party that night to ask about it. It turned out that this chef had been a disciple of the Happy Noodle shop owner. At first, the noodle shop was lucky to offer a high price to hire him to come here. The purpose is to compete with the Happy Noodle shop and also change the name of the Nana shop to Lucky Noodle shop. And the other party, after being robbed, lost customers, can only close the shop. Yang-woo suddenly remembered the mailbox full of shop clerks. These letters were all sent from a nursing home. The owner of the salon brought his mother with Alzheimer's disease here. But unfortunately, the boss has only been visiting for 12 months. Unfortunately, he visited yesterday. In a short time, it would not come again, and the clue was broken again. Lawyer Dung asked where Yang-woo was. Telling her to confide in the case, Yang Wu could only borrow a well-intentioned lie. We absolutely don't go looking for the happy noodle shop owner. It seems that whatever happens. At the court, the presiding officer of the temple said that at first they were vehemently opposed to the remodeling of the national highway, because that would destroy the purity of the temple. More importantly, in the process of building through the mountain, there will be a lot of killing, countless forest trees will be cut down. But in the end, it is impossible to change the policy. The placement of the carving fee also makes people no longer want to go to the pagoda. Although Yang Wu was also very skeptical of the location of these toll touches, they were all within the allowed area. Lawyer Deng's previous wife, who heard that he had stage 3 breast cancer, also immediately came to visit. Yang Wu honestly hurriedly walked in. No matter what angle you look at, this case is difficult to win or lose. Ms. Lula talked non-stop, and the lawyer's wife asked who she was. I am lawyer Wu Yang Wu, the dog of the dragonfly, Locust Wu Wu. Listening to this introduction, the lawyer's wife also jumped all 3 dots in her head. Yang Wu and Lawyer Deng discussed this case fiercely. This made his wife fail again, at work. After the two finished discussing, she couldn't help but sigh in the lawyer's heart that the most important thing is still work. Maybe only work makes him feel happy, and then hurriedly leaves. I went to Yang Wu thinking about my relationship and Junho, so I called my father. If you take Junho home, what will you plan? All parents in the world hope that their children will meet the right person. Since then, living a happy life, Yang Wu has got the answer he wanted. Junho can really take care of her like her father and can also help her feel happy. However, thinking back, she began to doubt herself. She didn't know if she could make Junho feel happy or not. Will she ever make him feel lonely? Yang Wu doubted himself, so he chose to falter. She thinks that because of her own specificity, she will drag Junho's feet. No matter how much she suffered, she didn't know whether this kind of feeling was called no. Yang Wu took the initiative to propose a breakup, and Jun coughed as if he was electrocuted and stood on the spot. Without any preparation, he didn't know that she had heard many stories between her and me. Although Junho asked, Yang Wu was silent and did not answer. He thought that because she didn't see the dolphin appear, she was so sad. He advised Yang Wu, although the dolphins did not appear, they were living in the sea. What I see is not necessarily true. Unexpectedly, this sentence brought inspiration to Yang Wu. It is not wrong that I was blinded by the incident in front of me, so I had to ignore the essence of the matter. Yang Wu began to talk non-stop, explaining the reasoning piece of the case. Completely immersed and analyzing the case. A second ago, he said goodbye, but now the conversation has changed to a character analyzing the case. He didn't pay attention to Junho at all, and his heart ached beside him. Only when Jun coughed up a reminder, Yang Wu still muttered to himself and talked non-stop. After finding the breakthrough point of the lawsuit, she was so happy that she turned her head and left. At this time, he was about to break through his psychological defense. Even if Yang Wu had autism in the trial, Yang Wu found the key point, so he got up. Although the road passes through the landscape, repairing the road is to serve public resources for the people. Passers-by only pass by, not visit. So this only belongs to the act of using public resources. The case finally ended successfully. When leaving, in order to avoid embarrassment, Yang Wu could not sit in the same car with Junho. The lawyer used the decision to return to visit the temple again and found that the toll booth was closed. The host enthusiastically entertained them, and then the final purpose of the fee reduction was to advise people to protect animals and plants. If the court decides to close them, there will be no resentment. After that, the chairman also took the initiative to invite them to the house to eat. Whoever is shy in the kitchen will come across the happy noodle shop owner they have been looking for a long time. It is possible to fulfill the wish of a person who is no longer alive is used by a lawyer. This made Yang Wu feel extremely warm. At the same time, Ms. Yang Wu was also running against the Minister of Justice, which Director Han took the initiative to contact reporters. She planned to expose the day that Sumi was running for election to expose Yang Wu as Sumi's stepdaughter. The day that the lawyer used for surgery had also arrived, and Yang Wu hurriedly came to visit him. She said that I wanted to come to see him for a while. If he died due to a failed surgery, I wouldn't be able to see him again. These words surprised Lei's mother. Everyone must know that with stage 3 cancer, the survival rate is really not high, but emphasized to patients and their relatives right before surgery. Then the mental damage is really the life that only Yongwoo can do. Before she was pushed into the operating room, she didn't even forget to cheer him on to come back alive. He said thank you helplessly and then motioned to keep his mouth shut, but she still encouraged him with all her might and continued to say, "You must come out alive." When Lawyer Deng was admitted to the hospital, all his work was taken over by Jiang Se-deng. Unexpectedly, at this time, a large number of customers came to Korea's largest online shopping system to be attacked by hackers. Because the employee accidentally clicked on the browser containing a virus, revealing user information. The watchdog gave them a heavenly fine of 300 billion won. Based on similar cases in the past, Lawyer Zhang guessed that letting users' private information be exposed only have to pay a fine of 100 million won. It must be because the surveillance agencies saw that people all over the country were using Ryan's app, so they wanted to eat them. This case is like money falling from the sky. Lawyer Zhang took this opportunity to frantically flatter Ryan's hot CEO. Who would have thought that Yongwoo's compulsive illness would develop? She slapped the people sitting here with words. According to the total data, only 80% of the population in the country uses Ryan's app. It should be said that the whole country uses it, but it is too indulgent, and the atmosphere in the room suddenly becomes extremely awkward. Through research, Yongwoo found a law based on the law for the supervisory agency to give that heavenly fine. Ryan's side differs from similar cases before in that not only do they have too many users, but the relevant financial transaction information of customers still exists. Commercial behaviors such as procedure fees and withdrawals should be increased and based on service consumption. She cited a lot of relevant laws, so that Lawyer Zhang finally knew what the taste of being distributed by her was like. But Lawyer Zhang is tough and behaves completely differently from Lawyer Deng. He doesn't accept his subordinates pointing 5 fingers at him. It is even more unacceptable for his subordinates to refute his decision. He said loudly to Yongwoo. No matter what he said, she could just follow it, and then she went to find Lawyer Deng. He saw that Yongwoo thought of helping her in a way, and if he had a disagreement, he would discuss it with his colleagues. Before the day of going to court, Lawyer Zhang was calmly recounting the incident, but who expected to be caught very quickly. The defendant is also a person with compulsive phobia. He immediately corrected his statement. He said Ryan's users make up 80% of the country's population. In front of the legal evidence that the supervisory agency gave was exactly what she said. Most importantly, the Ryan side has not applied information protection technology for users. Lawyer Zhang was completely defeated and paid the price for his contempt. The loss of the advantage in the first trial law has caused a fierce influence. All users nationwide have unanimously filed a lawsuit. If they do not handle it satisfactorily, they will have to compensate a huge amount of up to 3 billion troops. At that time, the lawyer they had to confront was also a numb law firm. And when things were coming to a standstill, Yenga's obsession continued to slap. Seeing that the pronunciation of the word judiciary and Lawyer Zhang's own law is not standard. So she interrupted his conversation. You said that the new law is correct. Lawyer Zhang asked her what she was saying. He didn't seem to understand. She paid attention and then pasted in detail how to pronounce these 2 words, completely ignoring Suzian's warning school. Lawyer Zhang shouted angrily, "You're leading with me?" Never appear to be better than arrangement. Junho overthrew Jiang's law and found a new breakthrough perspective on the case. Due to the hurt in his self-esteem, he immediately kicked her out of the team. Lawyer Jiang is a person with extremely high self-esteem, and he is punished by Yongwoo's obsessive compulsion to go to class continuously. This left him without any face. The case continued to fall into a stalemate. The Hanbana side was also brought to the head of the wind wave by public opinion. The director ordered that this time he must win the lawsuit, so Lawyer Jiang thought of a new way. Din relied on the relationship of his classmates to bribe the court. I didn't expect that this person was as honest as Brother 7. His bribery was like playing with a tiger. On the day it came out, the lawyer Zhang was really startled, so he didn't dare to stand in front of the court. He had to appoint Su Zian as his representative. From the level of this hacker, they think that even if Zhang applies security technology, it is still easy to be hacked. The one who needs to be held accountable is the hacker. But the watchdog introduced the latest bill to be enacted as a fatal blow. Just don't set up security technology. When the incident occurs, the information is leaked, the company is obliged to take responsibility. Every line of this new law appeared in Yang Wu's mind. The argument is extremely strong. This case is almost impossible to win. Rian's CEO couldn't accept this cruel truth. Take out a pill and swallow it right in front of the court. Just a few seconds later, he fell to the ground, his mouth foaming white. Reporters heard the news and surrounded the hospital. Lawyer Jiang condescendingly took advantage of his 3 subordinates as a decoy. The reporter in front of him rushed to the car and ran away. After the 3 of them were lucky enough to escape, while examining the case, Seoul's words once again evoked a new premonition for Yang Wu. The time of the hacker attack coincided with the date the new bill began to be implemented. But the time he sent the document containing the virus was a day before. Therefore, the new bill cannot be applied to this case. And they have a certain space to refute. Who would have thought that lawyer Zhang would have a rage? Being pointed out by a novice lawyer made him lose all his face. He immediately kicked her out of the team. So Zian was about to defend Yang Wu when lawyer Wu dragged him away. Not everyone is as tolerant as lawyer Deng wants to work here in peace. Then you must know the intention of the superiors. So Zian immediately refutes him. She talks about her colleagues because of what she thinks is right. Can't you ignore that little bit of calculation? Bravely stand up like a fool once. He asked why I had to do that. Suzian looked straight at him and said that it was because she liked that kind of man. At the last trial, lawyer Yang went out and did not see the date. So when he spoke, he was severely challenged to correct the pronunciation of the word. Just like Yang Wu had reminded him. The difference this time was that he obediently obeyed like a quail. The opponent smiled victoriously. Seeing that he was about to lose the lawsuit, Suzian stood up and said Yang Wu's argument. This new opinion attracted the attention of the litigants, but Suzian's arbitrary statement made lawyer Yang angry. The watchdog used Yang's own argument to refute Suzian. In a critical moment, lawyer Wu stood up and perfectly complimented Suzian's statement to help them win the case. Meanwhile, Yang Wu came home alone to find Jun Ho, who had been waiting for him for a long time. His sister's words made her feel her eyes widen in her heart. She was also not sure if she could bring him happiness. She sadly expressed it to him. I always put myself at the center of my own world, so I often make people around me feel lonely. She didn't even realize the loneliness of the person next to her. She didn't even know how to avoid that from happening. Although she liked Mr. Jun Ho very much, I had nothing to be sure that I wouldn't make him feel lonely. At the same time, a plot involving Yang Wu was about to be exposed, initially to put her into the Hanbara. Her father had agreed to let the director use her identity once to provoke Sumi. Unexpectedly, the incident revealed her identity as her stepchild online. The mysterious hacker is actually a young teenager and Sumi's son. The two sisters met again. The younger brother met Yang Wu for the first time. And how unhappy he was when he came here to confess. I was the hacker they were looking for, and the real culprit behind turned out to be Ryan's director Kim. Because he and this CEO had a disagreement, he deceived Nguyen to steal user information. Unexpectedly, when the incident was exposed, they completely lost control. Director Kim and Director Bae are co-directors of the group. But now that Director Bae has fallen into a coma, Director Kim has succeeded in winning everyone's trust. Yang Wu, when he had the user information in his hands, his conscience was upset, so he encrypted all the information. Even when Director Kim repeatedly asked him to release it, he resolutely refused. Now that the situation is getting more and more serious, Ryan Group is not only on the verge of bankruptcy, and Director Bae harmed himself to prove his innocence. The guilt made him unable to bear it any longer. But when he told his mother everything and said he wanted to surrender, His mother stopped him again because now was the crucial time for her to run for Attorney General. It is absolutely impossible for this scandal to resonate far away. However, Yang Win discovered the existence of Yang Wu in his mother's computer. He didn't expect his mother to always be kind and honest. When he encounters a problem that affects his interests, he looks like a villain on TV, trying to cover up the truth of the crime. Yang Won handed over the video of himself confessing to Yang Wu. At the moment, the only person he trusted was this strange sister. When she encounters problems, she will go to find a lawyer to confide in. Director Kim is their customer. If publishing a push-out video not only affects the interests of customers, it also damages the reputation of the law firm. Should we choose the cause now or be a law-abiding machine? Lawyer Dum told her that everyone's rules are different. He told her to think carefully, see what kind of lawyer she wanted to be. Wu Yongwu in his eyes was not an ordinary lawyer like many others. Director Han attached great importance to the next lawsuit. So, I participated in the discussion myself. The successful prosecution of the previous time helped them gain the initiative for the class action lawsuit. After that, Lawyer Zhang's face must have been very thick 80 yards. Han looked at the spider face and took all of Yang Wu's merits on him. I went to Sumi and sent someone to give Yang Wu an invitation to work at Taesang's American branch. She will also help her make appointments with the best experts for psychological counseling for her. Her uneasy appearance made Junho's words of concern unspeakable. He had to wait for another chance. Her father also confessed that Director Han would reveal her identity to attack Nasumi. But no matter what, Yang Wu will still bring out his brother's footage. Just by playing it in the court, Sumi wouldn't be able to stop the boy from confessing himself. But she also met with mixed opinions. Lawyer Yang and Lawyer Wu think that the act of turning away from the client will bring a bad reputation to the law firm. Yang Wu is on the side of social justice again. Director Han said that this is a once-in-a-thousand-year opportunity. Because when this comes to light, Sumi's election campaign will definitely fail. But the company's reputation is also a matter of concern. And it was then that Yang Wu came up with a way. She was used by her mother for more than 20 days. This was the first time she stood in front of her mother and said her request to help his brother confess and reduce the punishment. Yang Wu watched his brother's confession video to expose Director Kim's crimes. Although law firms cannot cause conflicts of interest of clients, but Director Kim is only the one who follows the customer's face. The real customer is the subject of the company. Therefore, there is no conflict between the two sides. Moreover, her brother encrypted the information obtained from the user. Therefore, personal information is not exposed. This can help the younger brother confess and reduce the sentence. Just have a chance to win this case. Director Han also canceled the plan to attack Shumi by revealing Yang Wu's identity. On the day of the trial, the video was just released, and Director Kim immediately protested. After that, Lawyer Minwoo issued a letter of dismissal in front of the company's representative. After Director Pa woke up again, he immediately held a shareholders' meeting to completely cut off Director Kim's way back. But the lawyer on the other side objected to the right to cross-examine witnesses. Besides, the boy was only a high school student. The authenticity of the video has not yet been confirmed. Sure enough, in order to prevent them, they sent someone to take her brother on a plane to leave here. Director Han had calculated in advance, preparing to mobilize all the media to expose this matter. Although it takes longer, the results will be much better. Yang Wu objected again if the truth was exposed to the media. Her brother will not be able to confess, and the punishment will not be reduced. Previous efforts are like pouring the river to the surface. She decided to go see Shumi herself and persuade her to let her brother testify in court. The colleague didn't understand why she thought she was talking nonsense. Advise her that not everyone will meet her. Unexpectedly, Director Han agreed, and Junho took the initiative to take her away. Rang seemed to be brave in facing the problem, which also aroused his courage. Although Yang Wu's specialness sometimes makes him feel lonely, but his heart's love for her was not fake. When they opened their hearts, the misunderstanding between the two people was finally resolved. Both bravely faced this feeling. On the other hand, since she knew that Yongwoo was her daughter, this is the first time the two of them have talked to each other privately. Seeing her stupid behavior, it is unimaginable how much suffering her daughter has experienced over the years. How many failures a mother like her has. When in the eyes of her brother is a kind and honest mother, Yongwoo didn't want to lose a child's trust for his own sake. Because of her kind mother, otherwise she would have been very heartbroken. And that wound, no matter how long it takes, cannot heal. She told her mother that she was not a good mother to her. But can you at least be a good mother in Jongwin's eyes? Yongwoo didn't know if he was successful or not. Finally, his brother appeared at the trial. His confession was forgiven by Director B. Yongwoo also completed the interrogation of his younger brother by himself. And Shumi voluntarily withdrew from the position of candidate for justice minister to focus on taking care of her children. The case received a great victory. Director Kim was arrested. Lost data is preserved intact and restored. Nothing bad happens. At the same time, because his younger brother is at the age of the young man who voluntarily surrendered, finally sent to an education camp for a month. At the end of the story, the strange lawyer Woo Yongwoo is also happy. Going through many difficulties, he finally went through the most beautiful days of his life with Junho. Okay, the movie is coming to an end. Please spend 3 seconds to subscribe to the channel to support us. Thank you for watching our channel. See you in the next movie.